In this episode, we're diving into the top 7 royals who rarely bathed, and trust me, number 1 is bound to surprise you. Louis XIV at the opulent Palace of Versailles. Known for its mirrors and gilded perfection, a starkly different reality lurked beneath the surface. Beyond the glistening halls, a pungent stench of decay and waste pervaded the air. At the center of it all was Louis XIV, famously known as the Sun King, radiating both authority and an unpleasant body odor. Louis despised bathing, taking only 2 baths throughout his entire reign. Instead, he would mask his scent with thick fragrances and don clothing that trapped not only the aromas but also sweat, bacteria, and dead skin. His royal physicians advised him that water was harmful, urging him to avoid it at all costs even as sores developed on his skin. His notorious odor was so overpowering that servants would faint while foreign dignitaries struggled to maintain composure. Descriptions of his body spoke of an overwhelming stench reminiscent of festering wounds and rancid perfume. As for Versailles itself, it lacked proper toilets, with people relieving themselves behind curtains and under staircases. The palace may have looked divine, but the smell was that of a public sewer. Peter the Great, the ruler who transformed Russia, modernized its cities, fleets, and ideologies, but he neglected his personal hygiene. Known for wearing the same soiled clothes for days, sometimes even weeks, he would sweat through bloody battles and wild parties alike without a thought to cleanliness. His beard went unwashed and his hair became matted and greasy. The aroma he exuded was a blend of vodka, gunpowder, and grave dirt. Foreign diplomats reported their horror in letters back to Europe, with one even fainting during an audience due solely to the overpowering scent of the Tsar. To make matters worse, his followers emulated him, leading to an entire court steeped in filth. Peter may have dragged Russia into modernity, but his hygiene remained firmly in the past. Elizabeth I, the iconic Elizabeth I, England's Virgin Queen, ruled during the nation's golden age. She triumphed over the Spanish Armada and inspired the likes of Shakespeare with her unmatched intellect and charisma. Yet beneath her carefully crafted image lay a shocking truth. Elizabeth bathed merely once a month, often without rhyme or reason. Her obsession with appearance didn't manifest in cleanliness, but rather in hazardous masking. Her famed alabaster complexion was maintained with layers of thick, toxic white lead makeup, a well-known poison. Each application trapped dirt and sweat from previous days, resulting in a brittle, cracking facade that wreaked havoc on her skin. Her wigs, instead of being cleaned, were simply dusted with powder and drenched in perfume, entrapping old oils and scalp secretions. While her gowns were rarely washed, she relied on an extensive wardrobe in hopes of diffusing any odors. However, beneath the layers of toxic paint and scented veils, her body suffered grievously. The lead ravaged her skin, resulting in blisters, lesions, and sores. Her health likely declined considerably, contributing to lost teeth, migraines, and chronic pain. Visitors sensed a palpable distance when near the Queen. While formality dictated her relationships, the truth was that her physical state necessitated a barrier. Her regal presence bore witness to an unwashed existence beneath her radiant exterior. Isabella of Castile unified Spain, launched Columbus's journey across the Atlantic, and decimated cultures in her crusades. However, the stunning reality is that she bathed only twice in her entire life, once at birth and once on her wedding day. Why? Isabella believed water was corrupting to the soul, equating cleanliness with sin. Doctors warned that bathing could open pores to disease, demons, and death. Consequently, she waged war against water, burying herself in heavy layers of clothing, not mere dresses, but walls of fabric meant to trap heat and, unfortunately, everything else too. Often her garments remained unwashed for weeks and even months, only removed when they literally fell apart. Encased in these decaying layers, her skin became infested with lice and fleas, with rashes spreading like wildfire. The air surrounding her was so pungent that servants had to burn incense just to breathe. Picture a queen issuing orders while enveloped in clouds of smoke and perfume, trying to mask an unbearable stench strong enough to make eyes water. Her perceived holiness had a foul odor. King James V. King James V of Scotland, later James I of England, is known for bestowing one of history's most significant literary treasures, the King James Bible. Yet the man behind this divine gift was far from pristine, harboring a paralyzing fear of bathing. He perceived water not as a cleanser, but as a dangerous enemy that drained vitality and invited illness. Instead of bathing, he enveloped himself in layers of unwashed clothing, doused himself in cheap cologne, and allowed sweat to accumulate. Rarely did he change from his grand, heavy attire, often sleeping fully clothed, including his stiff velvet and mud-caked boots. Attending physicians left horrified notes detailing the ingrained dirt on his hands and under his nails and the unpleasantness of his breath. Adding to his repulsiveness, James harbored an intense fear of being touched, not merely from paranoia, but perhaps from a deep-seated awareness of his own neglect. Approaching him required not just respect, but bravery to endure the overpowering stench, reminiscent of moldy cheese wrapped in damp wool. Imagine bowing before a king whose every presence was an olfactory assault. Henry VIII of England, the larger-than-life tyrant known for his 6 marriages, church reforms, and immense appetites for food, wine, and power, notably neglected one vital pleasure: cleanliness. A defining contradiction of the Tudor era, he was surrounded by luxury, draped in gold cloth and gems, yet marinated in his own filth. Like many of his contemporaries, he believed frequent bathing could weaken the body, exposing it to harmful miasmas. Instead of washing, he turned to perfumes, pomander balls to clutch against his nose, and layers of rich fabrics. As his health declined, his body swelled due to gluttony and various ailments, including leg ulcers that oozed pus. Visualize this substantial monarch, a massive figure continually perspiring, with leg wounds weeping into bandages that were likely changed infrequently. The air around him was a noxious cocktail of decay mingling with floral perfumes and the scent of old wine mixed with remnants of decaying food trapped in his beard. Henry's grand palaces may have appeared stately, but they lacked proper sanitation, resulting in floors soaked in ale and rotting remnants. Courtiers vying for favor or delivering news faced an overwhelming odor, a thick miasma of decay barely concealed by incense and perfume. In every way, Henry's very presence was a manifestation of unchecked authority and the simultaneous decay of his physical being. Empress Elizabeth of Austria, known as Sissy, was an icon of 19th-century beauty. With her waist-cinching corsets and an almost obsessive hair care routine involving 3-hour brushing sessions, she epitomized grace. However, beneath this facade lay an alarming secret. Sissy perceived bathing as a potential threat to her delicate constitution, believing that immersion in water could sap her vitality and lead to illness. As a result, she only allowed herself a full bath every few months. Picture the contradiction: hours spent perfecting her hair while neglecting her body's cleanliness. Although she used luxurious lotions and perfumes, minimizing surface dirt, the deep grime accumulated. Though her beauty captivated many, it rested on a precarious foundation of fear and deliberate neglect. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to support our work. Never miss an upload. Like this vid, drop a comment, and share it with others to help us grow this historical community.